This fight, as you know, is much bigger than me and my opponents, much bigger than Virginia in the 5th district. This is not only the template, as you said, for the election on November 5, but it also is represented. It's the swamp versus the Freedom Caucus. Are we going to allow this seat to be bought by the McCarthy revenge tour? We're going to make sure that to the best of our ability, every legal and legitimate vote is counted, and only every legal and legitimate vote. We're going to pursue every suspicion of malfeasance. We're going to investigating that, and we're going to have some extra time to do it during the recount process.
Well, good luck with that. You just heard from Republican Congressman Bob Good. He is the chair of the far-right House Freedom Caucus, and he's locked in a too close to call race, a primary battle with the state senator John McGuire, who Donald Trump and many of his lackeys endorsed. And now some of Good's colleagues in the House are calling him out and brutally mocking him for claiming that there were irregularities in the election that need to be investigated. Now, to be fair to Good, the race is extremely tight. So let's take a look at the results as they stand. So as of right now, McGuire leads by just 371 votes. So it's very likely that they're going to have a recount, and that's totally fine. They should have a recount. The preemptive allegation, though, that there were irregularities in the election process, obviously very Trumpian, which is hilarious because in this race, Trump ended up endorsing McGuire, who was the opponent to Bob Good in this primary. But Good is going beyond calling for this recount. He's entering that Trumpian territory. He has demanded a do-over in one county and said that he'll try to block certification of the results until investigations are conducted. He is sharing conspiracies about election irregularities from Rumble, including this one with this headline saying, "Shocking new video reveals ballot drop box left open for days, mail-in ballots collected after election, and no security cameras present in Lynchburg, Virginia." And he also suggested that fire alarms going off at 3 precincts was part of this coordinated effort to hurt him, posting on X, quote, "We had 3 fires on election day in 3 precincts, all requiring the precincts to be evacuated for 20 minutes. Albemarle County, Hanover County, and Lynchburg City. What is the probability? Does anyone recall even one fire at a precinct on election day?" So, he's floating all of these like theories about why the election is close, and his colleagues in the House of Representatives are not having it. And they are mocking him for it, although most of them are doing so anonymously. One anonymous House Republican said, quote, "No one's buying it, but all understand this is one of several stages of electoral grief." The GOP lawmaker added that Good's assertion of election irregularities is the reflexive thing people who can't accept loss say these days.
Oh, yes, say it to Trump. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, right?
Yeah, go ahead, I dare you to say it, coward.
I mean, he's not even giving, Axios, who reported this story, his name. He's doing an anonymous quote when it comes to Bob Good. You think he would ever say this about Donald Trump, even anonymously?
Please. Yeah. He knows it. They all know it. They all know it. That's why they're venting on Bob Good. They're like, "Oh, goddamn, another election interference, total horse crap," right?
Yeah.
I mean, did I say another? I didn't mean another because the one that was totally fake is totally real. Well, we're just worried about Bob Good. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
Look, I loathe politicians. I can't stand them anymore. The sight of them makes me sick.
Here's one more. I gotta give it to you. So this is another anonymous Republican in the House. F Bob Good. Bob Good is a sore loser. His defeat strengthens our majority.
Yeah, I want to tell you about that guy too. Okay, so look, number one, they should do a recount. Because it's a super close election. I don't know what the percentages are that require a recount in the state of New York. Every state is a little bit different, but I'd be very surprised if that wasn't within the percentage given how close the election is. So no harm in a recount. It doesn't mean there was fraud. It just means let's make sure, right? Yeah. And a lot of times the votes do change in a recount by a little bit. And in this case, since the margin is small, maybe. Number two, on the fire alarms, That is kind of weird, but does that mean that there was definitely a conspiracy? Of course not. Does that mean you should totally discount it? Well, brother, you got to have more evidence than that. But I'm yours, because it reminds me of the Turkish elections where Erdogan's party claimed that 9 different cats walked into 9 different power stations in 9 different cities, and knocked out the power wall just as they were calculating the votes, right? So
are you serious?
Basically, so the 3 fire alarms in the same district is a little weird, right? So okay, look into it. You're looking into things doesn't mean anything happened. Like a lot of the MAGA guys don't understand. There was nothing wrong with asking for 3 recounts like Trump did. And he got all 3 recounts in Georgia and in other places. There's nothing wrong with asking for a hand recount. There's something wrong with making up evidence that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Okay, so that's not the issue here, and it is close. Guys, I'm rooting for Bob Good, even though he's very, very likely going to lose given this situation. Why? I despise Bob Good, and he's one of the most radical right-wingers in Congress, so why the hell would I root for him? Because if the other guy wins, as is likely now, it establishes Trump's dominance within the Republican Party completely. Like AIPAC has dominance over both Republican and Democratic parties, and so does Big Pharma. There's some groups that are unchallengeable. And this makes Trump unchallengeable, because Bob Good's offense to Donald Trump was microscopic. And even so, Trump said, too little, too late, now you're gonna bury him. And he sends a message to everyone when Bob Good, one of the most right-wing guys in the whole country, loses just because he tweaked Trump.
Barely.
That means they will all bow down to Donald Trump, and that is a terrible thing to happen. And there's a second terrible reason too.
Well, before you get to the second terrible reason, can you explain why Donald Trump endorsed Good's primary challenger rather than endorsing Good, the incumbent?
Yeah, so Donald Trump is very transactional, and he's an interesting guy in this way. So you could say that, like JD Vance did, that he was the next coming of Hitler. But as long as you bend a knee now, he'll consider you for vice president, right? But when he was running in the primaries, he said to everyone, no dissent is allowed. So if you back any of the other candidates, you're dead to me forever. Politically, it's smart, to be honest, okay? And so Bob Good backed DeSantis, but he never said anything bad about Trump at all, didn't get involved.
It doesn't matter.
The minute DeSantis left the race, he endorsed Trump and started kissing his ass and went to his trial. But Trump said, no, I told you, you can't ever back anyone that isn't named Donald J. Trump for even a second. So since you were on the wrong end of that transaction, I now eliminate you, okay? So if that's the offense that gets you eliminated, no one will ever dare oppose Trump. So this is a disaster of an election for the country, let alone the Republican Party and everyone else.
I also get the sense, Jake, sorry to interrupt you, but I also get the sense that the Republicans who actually went on the record, gave Axios their names as they gave their quotes, kind of criticizing Good, absolutely despise the House Freedom Caucus and what happened when they ousted Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker, because that did lead to chaos in the House. And a lot of the Republicans didn't like that. So,
yeah, but so you're right, Anna, but I would add one caveat to that. It's not the chaos that they despised. Yeah, they all looked a little silly, but did it really matter? It didn't affect their polling.
It's not like Congress was doing anything for us.
Yeah,
anyway.
They weren't trying to do anything anyway. No, what they hated was that corporate rule was challenged. So we could hate the way that Matt Gaetz and Bob Good and et cetera challenged it. We could dislike and disagree with their positions. But it was the uniparty saying, how dare you block the defense spending, all the money we were gonna give to our corporate donors while pretending we don't have any money. You gummed up the proceedings for a couple of days and weeks, and you're not allowed to dissent like that. So what those guys are gloating, because they're like, ha ha, that guy defied conventional wisdom in DC, which is set by the donors. How dare you defy Trump and the donors? That's why they despise Bob Good. So as bad a guy as Bob Good is, these guys that are against him are actually way worse. So this is a terrible result for the country. You know, I doubt he'll be able to overturn it with a recount. And if he doesn't, don't celebrate. Oh, ha ha, Bob Good was in the chair of the Freedom Caucus and he was defeated, because it's a bad sign for all of us. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.